Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I don't really know what to say about this episode. I have literally been struggling for the last past 3 minutes before I even hit the record button, just trying to think about something positive that happened in this episode, something good that happened in this episode, something where it was like, man, this was great, or this was okay. I think the sad thing is that the only thing that I genuinely liked is the conversation between EJ and Chad. Just EJ being there for Chad. You know, EJ has been known to be a lot of things. Um, Mostly known for being an asshole. Let's just be very clear about that. Self-absorbed, using people, all sorts of other negative things. Um, But it is nice to sit there and see a different side to him. You know, to sit there and see him just being a supportive brother. Um, when Chad was not there, really upset, he was crying and everything like that, and EJ just kind of held him. It was a genuinely nice moment. Especially for EJ because we don't really get to see those. Well, I don't want to sit there and say we don't because they had the other EJ before. But as far as newcomers and people have heard about EJ before, seeing that side of him is very rare. And it's only reserved for very special and close people in his life. So I did enjoy watching that, just watch him just be there. Even taking a lot of the brunt that Chad was dishing out. So I enjoyed that. Now, unfortunately, for me personally, that was pretty much the apex of the show because everything else after that just kind of goes downhill. I mean, you got Jan Spears, the Smithy trying to extend her stay, trying to extend her stay, not going back to jail. At first she was Smithy talking about the baby, and then she was all like, oh, because Sean got a text from the warden like, yo, so she's coming back to jail, right? Because I mean, she delivered the baby, so this is really no point her being, out and about and free and everything like that when she come back. And Janice Spears was like, oh well, I didn't really get to hold him or anything like that, and the first couple of hours and days or whatever is really important for a baby's life. Then she started talking about breast milk and everything like that, and she got Kayla to sign off on the baby receiving, breast milk or whatever to kind of help him develop and things of that nature, especially being that he is a newborn. Um, so she got, a little bit of an extension. Now, after Ben was talking to Clyde and talking to Sierra, he was all kind of down because, at one point he almost ended Abby's life. And watching those kids go through life, like not having their mother growing up, he felt genuinely bad. So Sierra's like, listen, why don't you come with me to the hospital to see Sean's new baby, to kind of, cheer you up a little bit. So they get down there and, they catch Sean hugging Jan Spears and, Sierra's like, what did I walk in on? Now, at some point, I think this is before or after, I don't remember which one, but Jan Spears tells them that, she named the baby Sean. Sean Christian Brady. She wanted a Christian name, so she came out with Christian. And she wanted to have Sean's first name because reasons. And she gave reasons or whatever, but, this was something that even Sean was like, what? Sierra's like, oh, you named the baby Sean. That's, okay. And then she looks at Sean, and Sean's like, yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing it also. So after that, Janet Spears talks about how she's staying a little bit longer, to look after the baby and everything like that. And then she asks Sierra, because she holds the baby, just to, because she wants to sit there and practice. And when she holds her own baby and seeing how she didn't get to hold her baby right after delivery or anything like that, she kind of wants to hold her baby. So she asks, and it's just the most it's just so awkward and so uncomfortable. Because it's just awkward silence. And Sean is not there looking at Sierra like, so you want to do it? And I genuinely felt bad for Sierra. Like, here's the thing: I'm not a fan of Sierra or Ben, but I genuinely felt bad for her because it was like she was put on the spot. Given the fact that Janet Spears has, premature baby and everything like that. She didn't really get to hold the baby. As a mother, she could sympathize with that, you know? And she didn't want to sit there and be all mean and bitchy or whatever. Like, no, you're not holding my baby with your crazy ass or anything like that. So she gave in and, she got to hold the baby for a little bit. And I think that's when she told everybody that, their child is going to be named Sean. So after that, they leave, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember exactly what else happened after that, but I remember seeing the previews or reading about the previews, and Sierra's I feel like she's catching, she's catching on to Jan Spears scheme as far as trying to use this baby to leverage more out of Sean, spend more time with Sean, and stay out of prison. Um, towards the end, she asks Sean to, go get her some real food, and Sean left. I felt like at that point, she was going to try to, leave or whatever and break free and just, go on a run or whatever. I don't know exactly how she's going to do that as far as getting the ankle monitor off, but of course, then if she did that, then she wouldn't be able to really be with the baby. So I have no idea what her plan is, but I feel like I have no idea what's going to wind up happening. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a fan of Jan Spears, but I am genuinely interested to see what is her goal? Like, what is her long term plans? Because she keeps having this crazy idea about being pardoned or being paroled early, and after all her many crimes, I don't really see how it's possible. And usually with Jan Spears, since they don't really actually kill the chick or anything like that, they just she puts on they put her on a coma, she's on ice for a little bit, then she comes out like every 2 or 4 years, like Groundhog's Day or whatever, Groundhog's Day. So I don't know what's going to wind up happening to her now. And she's been a character on the show for an extremely long time. Like I've only been watching the show since um I think 2020. I've been watching the show since like 2020 or like around that time. And she's been on it even before. Like I think she's been on it since they had Kristen Storms as Maxie. I think so. I'm not too sure, but I feel like she's been on the show for a really long time. I gotta sit there and look at that now that I think about it, because I'm kind of curious about that. To be honest, the scenes with Brady and Lucas seemed like it went absolutely nowhere. Brady was just sitting there asking a bunch of questions, being more concerned about Lucas since he fell off the wagon and everything like that, and he just wants to sit there and be there for him. But Lucas just has like the most guiltiest conscience, and everything that Brady says, he's very hostile, he's very defensive, and he just seems very guilty. Like there's one point where he almost blurts out that, like when he was blacked out or whatever, he felt like he did something to Abby, but then he changed it around and tried to make it seem like, oh, my sister or whatever. And so this guy is literally cracking under the pressure of Nothing. Like when you really think about it, yeah, okay, he has a cuddle in his hand, he was drinking, and he was worried about Abby, um, blowing up a secret or whatever. But besides those things, besides a motive to actually shut Abby up, that's also family right there too. I get when you're drunk, you do things that you normally wouldn't do, but I feel like he is on petrol and like the stuff that he's thinking that he actually did is very minor as far as like connecting him to Abby's murder. When there's so many other different possibilities, and he's like, man, hope you don't catch me or anything like that. I was like, bro, you have a cut in your hand and you are drinking. Like, relax. This isn't the first time that you've been blacked out drunk before. Um, I mean, have you been known to like just go into violent rage and just attack people when you were drunk? Like, I don't. Here's the thing: I don't know Lucas' history or anything like that, and why he actually stopped drinking. So I can't really sit there and say that for sure. But I feel like he's over worrying, and maybe it's because the way that the show wants direct you to is like, oh, like they want to direct you to the fact that Lucas could have actually killed Abby, which I don't think that he did. I really don't. Now, before the episode ends, we do get to see Sammy. Like, if you saw the previews, you know that Lucas looked like he's about to tell Sammy something as far as his kidnapping or whatever. But to be honest, I don't think he's actually going to do that. He's. I'm like 96% sure that he's not going to do it. 96% sure that he's not going to do it. Actually, tell you the truth, it's 99% that he won't do it. I just don't see him. I don't see him actually telling himself. Now, another conversation or whatever that really didn't go anywhere. Um, to a large extent, was the conversation between Bella and Chloe. What he did was talk about Abby. Then he talked about EJ. As far as Bella hooking up with EJ, and is there going to be more or anything like that? Now, of course, at this point, Sammy's back. And clearly, no other person can be with EJ, and Sammy not actually have anything to say about it or do something because for some odd reason, she's going to be unhappy. Even though she thinks that EJ kidnapped her, I don't know, maybe she'll just be overprotective or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, talk about that for a little bit. And the only thing that was kind of prevalent was when they talked about Clyde. Because, Chloe was like, oh, yeah, I'm not really too happy about that. I was like, Chloe, once again, you are literally sitting there meddling in one of your parents' relationship. How well did that go the first time? I mean, granted, yeah, she did wind up getting him away from, um, you know, Leo away from, what was his name? Craig. And she was right about that. But it's just one of those things where it's like, bro, why don't you just sit there and focus on focus on your own relationship? Stop worrying about what your mom is sitting there doing, who she's sitting there dating, or anything like that. Oh, I'm not happy about it. Sweetheart, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of times in your life that Nancy was not happy about the decisions and choices that you decided to make. Okay? Why don't you just sit this one out? Like, concentrate on your own stuff. But of course, Bella was like, oh, you gotta sit there and get Nancy away from Clyde because, she knows information about him as far as EJ shooting. So I get that part from her, but I'm like, bro, just stop. Because it was annoying watching the first time. Um, and it's going to be hell of annoying watching the second time. Especially since Clyde actually got out of jail and he's not actually, as far as everyone knows, he's not really doing anything that's like too crazy. Um, he does have a combo with Leo because Leo wants to sit there and kind of, dump those jewels or whatever. So they want a meeting behind a park or whatever in a park or something like that. And when Clyde sees the jewels, He was like, "Yo, these things are stolen." And Leo was like, "No, they're not. What are you talking about? They're from my great aunt or whatever." And Clyde's like, "All right, cool. You know what? Good luck with all that, and I'm out." But when Leo told the truth, Clyde was like, "All right, listen, lay low for a little bit. I'll find a guy. I'll get 30%, and we'll work something out." Leo was like, "Hey, listen, if you try to run away, I'll tell on you and you'll go back to jail." And Clyde was like, "Bro, you threatening me? Hmm? You threatening me?" I personally think that Leo should probably keep his mouth shut. Um, Also, he's been in that town long enough to know who Clyde is and know how dangerous Clyde is. But I mean, this is what happens when you are desperate, your funds are low, and everything like that. This is pretty much what it is. Now, towards the end of the episode, you had Chad that was going to sit there and tell his two children, that their mom, isn't alive anymore. They never really got to it. And that's another reason why I felt like this was such a somewhat meaningless episode because a lot of stuff really didn't get moved forward as far as the storyline went. And it was just one of those things where it's like, really? Like, I don't know. Whenever I see an episode like this, even like the one yesterday, and I'm about to sit there and record, it's like I don't want to make my reviews super negative, very like, down or whatever. But I can't sit there and fake something. Like I can't sit there and fake an emotion, be like, well, I really enjoyed this episode because of yada 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 yada, and it just comes across as well fake. Like when I love an episode and I'm raving about an episode, I'm excited, I'm having a great time, and that's generally how it should be. That's how it should be, at least all the time. And I know realistically, not every episode, like I always sit there and say my General Hospital reviews, not every episode is going to be a banger. But it should captivate you enough to be like, oh man, I can't wait to sit there and watch the next episode. Now, I kind of am looking forward to watching the next episode because of Sammy. Um, but it's just one of those things where it's like, yesterday's episode wasn't really that great. And then today's episode wasn't really that great because a lot of stuff didn't really move forward. Um, and this episode was the same thing. And it was just like, ugh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I do love doing these things daily, but it's not that talking to someone, one of my subscribers, about possibly switching up and doing um it weekly, once a week. And at first, I was like, I generally like to do my reviews every day because if something crazy happens that day, I can still remember that emotion. And I feel like it just translates so well when I just watch it and I do a review on it. But then you have episodes like this and one like yesterday, and it was like I could have really just skipped those 2 days and just really kind of got to the good stuff. And probably talked about some of the crap, but I could have just mostly talked about the good stuff because I know throughout this week there will be some good stuff. Um, well, I shouldn't even really sit there and say that, but like maybe next week, though. Like there's probably going to be some crap, but there's mostly going to be some good stuff. Um, the thing is, I've tried to do a review on a weekend, like a review once a week. I did that with B&B and I did that with Y&R, and it just felt so awkward. It felt so awkward because a lot of stuff that happened was like I couldn't really. It's not so much I couldn't remember it; it's just I couldn't remember the feeling of it. But I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you actually enjoy this episode? And if so, please tell me some good stuff that actually happened in this episode that you loved. And I would definitely. I mean, I always read the comments anyway, but I definitely would sit there and be like, okay, I didn't think about this. I didn't think about that. All that good stuff. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.